Hello everybody, my name is Star Raptor and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Season 1 of Marvel's Iron Fist. This is on Netflix, and guys, I just want to put this out there that it's got a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes, but that doesn't mean, oh, I'm not going to check it out. I myself see some reviews out there for other things I watch, and I try not to let the reviews dictate what I'm going to watch, what I'm going to enjoy. This is one of those instances where I say, screw the reviews, go check this thing out. It's not as bad as what the public is putting it out to be. It's definitely not the best thing that has come out of the Marvel Netflix deal, but it certainly has its enjoyable moments. So I'm going to get into a bit of the plot without giving too much away. So if you guys watch Arrow, this is kind of a very similar sort of origin story in a way. So we have this character of Danny Rand, who has a father who's a very wealthy man, and they have the Rand Enterprises. One day, when he's 10 years old, they go on an airplane to China and they crash. His parents die. He's thought to have died. 15 years later, he shows up at Red Enterprises and tries to reclaim the legacy. The story is a lot about legacy involved. And so for those 15 years, he was gone into another plane of his existence, really. It's called Kunlun, which is this mystical place, monastery, where these monks train, these warrior monks. And that's where he gets the power of the Iron Fist. So this story is basically about, okay, does he want to stay on Earth in New York, or does he want to go back to Kunlun where he is supposed to be defending them from all of their enemies? So this has a lot of connective tissue with Daredevil, which I really liked. This story explored a bit of the more mystical side of the Marvel Universe, which I'm always interested in. So I'm going to just get into some things I like, some things I didn't like, and score this thing. So first off, one of the positives of this is it's got probably some of the best kung fu you'll see in anything out right now. It's got some really great acrobatics. There's lots of weapons involved and just some really great choreography. So I really dug that. Also, Finn Jones is Danny Rand. I really enjoyed his character of this character coming back, especially in the beginning of the season when he's coming back from, you know, his journey through Kunlun. He's back on Earth and he's just so out of it. Like he's not wearing shoes. He's using the same old iPod. Now that there's iPhones, he's trying to get used to that. So it's a really great story of how, in the beginning at least, he's trying to get, you know, assimilated back into culture. Another thing I really liked was the whole family struggle between the other characters, Ward and Joy Mitchum, as well as Rand, who used to be their longtime friends, and then you have the Mitchum's father figure, which is Harold Mitchum, who's doing some things in the shadows. So you have this really great dynamic of family, which I don't think has really been explored in the Marvel Universe, but I thought it was really cool, and I thought they did a great job with, you know, really having great performances from all these actors. It's a solid season. There's just great acting all around. However, there is some things I didn't really enjoy about this series, at least for season 1. So the whole meaning behind the Iron Fist, I felt like they could have done a much better job. I came away after season 1 still kind of scratching my head what can and can't be done with the Iron Fist. So I think part of this was the lack of effective flashbacks for Danny Rand. Now there are flashbacks, but they're nothing like we've seen in Luke Cage. You know, they're nothing like we've seen in Daredevil. They're very strange. They don't really get into the training of him at the monastery, which I think would have really helped with fleshing that out, as well as I would have liked to see a more mystical kind of exploration in this. I think they kind of held back from some really cool stuff that we could have seen. So again, if we would have just had a little bit more, less of that dialogue, which is, you know, pertaining to the, you know, exposition, and more of actually seeing that stuff, that would have been really helpful. Okay, so going into the plot itself, I had my problems with it. So the pacing could have been handled a little bit better. I said the same thing with Luke Cage too, as far as the episodes are concerned. I think Netflix doesn't really need to hold themselves to 13 episodes really much anymore. I think they could have done this like Stranger Things had a nice 8 episodes and that felt perfect. I think Iron Fist could have used maybe a little bit less episodes, less length. They were pretty lengthy, hour-long episodes. So that could have maybe tightened things up a bit, and I just felt in general that the Iron Fist plot was going off to a great start in the first maybe 3-4 episodes, and I was like, oh, it's gonna get really good, and it just never got to that point where I was just, oh, I gotta watch the next episode right now. Like, it just, the cliffhangers weren't as good as something like Daredevil, and it just, the plot didn't get as epic as I really wanted it to be, and that leads me into the finale, which I had problems with the last episode. There are even characters that aren't even brought up with where they're going next, which is a huge problem for me because, as we all know, the Marvel Universe on Netflix is all connected together. The next series we have is going to be Defenders, when all of these heroes are connected. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Matt Murdock, and Danny Rand are all going to be connected. So we got to have more continuity kind of going forward. And, you know, this is basically where I stand with this show. Is it's decent, it's not amazing, but it's not terribly bad either. It just kind of hovers around the middle. In general, I hate to say it, but this is kind of a forgettable season, mainly because we don't have any of those instances of action sequences that really stand out in my head. For instance, like Daredevil, the hallway scenes in Season 1 and Season 2, and Luke Cage when he literally lifts a car door to use as a shield. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to give Iron Fist Season 1 a score of a 6.5 out of 10. I think they had a decent enough introduction to the character of Iron Fist before we see him in Defenders. It's very important we had that whole standalone season just exploring him. Now, however, I want to see next season maybe have Heroes for Hire. As we know, that's a very, very popular comic series that was basically between Luke Cage partnering up with Danny Rand. So I could see maybe them doing that instead of a Season 2 for Iron Fist, because regardless of how I think of it, it's not getting the best ratings, so I don't know if they're even going to try to do a Season 2, but I would watch it anyway, because I do like the character of Danny Rand. But that is going to do it for my review of Iron Fist Season 1, but I want to know what you guys thought, so feel free to leave a comment in that comment section below. Also, like the video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I have tons of other stuff on comics, movies, TV, and more. I'm Star Raptor. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye. So, did you like the video? Then make sure you rate it a thumbs up, and if you did that, go over there, hit that Star Raptor head to subscribe to my channel. Doing so will keep you up to speed on all of my latest content. Speaking of which, you can see a couple of my recent uploads down below. I'm also on social media, so what are you waiting for? Let's start nerding out.